Welcome to the program. Just days before the governorship primary of the All Progressives Congress in Ondo State, politics and politicking have taken center stage, with groups and individuals pitching tents and throwing their weight behind their preferred candidate. Also, at some point in the show, we will be moving to Senegal, where left-wing Pan-Africanist Bassirou Diomaye Faye on Tuesday became Senegal's youngest ever president, now pledging systemic change after years of deadly turmoil and announcing his mentor, that's opposition figure Ousmane Sonko, as prime minister. Welcome to the conversation. I am Dapo Adegboye. Let's talk. Just days before the governorship primary of the All Progressive Congress in Ondo State, the elders of the party, also known as Ondo APC Aborigines, have agreed to support the state governor, that's Mr. Lucky Aiyedatiwa, to be the candidate of the party. Now, the group warned the party against picking a stranger as candidate of the party at the primary. However, civil society groups like the Omoluabi coalition group think otherwise. They feel this political experience is largely local and restricted. Now, joining me on the program to make sense of this is Dr. Benson, Enikuomehin, that's a legal practitioner and also former Ondo State Commissioner on the governing board of the NDDC, and the executive director on project and also project director, Human Rights Action Watch, and also DG of the Omoluabi coalition group. Of course, we have our second guest to join us, but thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure being here. Good evening. All
right. Now, let me start off with you. Dr. Benson, interesting times again in Ondo State. Let's look at the reaction of the groups, to the current, primaries happening in the state. We know that just a few days from now, the state will be witnessing the All Progressives Congress primary towards governorship polls and all of that. And there's been a lot of back and forth and drama, from inception, talking about the former deputy governor being governor now after the unfortunate demise of the former governor. That's talking about Rotimi Akeredolu. What do you make of all of this drama?
Well, you recall that on your station, when the imbroglio was on, that the present governor, who was then deputy governor, should be impeached for no just cause and for no just reason. Some of us, we came up and we stood our ground and said, this is what the law says. And that is history behind us now. Now, at this point in time, Ondo State is to make a choice of who should take the saddle of leadership in the state. And that is the choice that is confronting them on the 20th of this month. And so I look at the meeting of these Aborigines as being strange, because in the party, there is no organization known as Aborigine. None, not at all. We have the structure of the party. We have the parties at the ward. We have them at the local government. We have them at the senatorial district. We have them at the state level. There is no organ of the party that is known as Aborigine.
But they also refer to themselves as the elders of the party.
Just a moment.
Okay.
The point is there is a name. The name is Aborigine. They are the elders, according to them, who are the Aboriginal elders. Take note, when APC was to be formed, there were 3 or 4 major political parties that joined, namely the then ACN, CPC, a good number of PDP, I'm not going to agree on what name they called them then, PDP Onigba or something like that, and then a faction of APGA. These were the 4 political parties that merged into one and formed the APC. There is no Aborigine political party that was party to that decision. So there cannot be any aborigine of APC because APC was not in existence aside from the time when it was formed. It was from the time APC was formed that we'll now be talking about people. So if there were political parties before now that were not party to APC, to refer them as aborigine, it's been mischievous because APC began from the day I think in 2013 or 2014 when it was formed, and these political parties were the ones that formed the APC. There were no aboriginal.
But would you also agree that there are also, individuals who constitute themselves as elders of the party?
Well, that can be subjective because as soon as we are above 60 or thereabout, take for example, some persons who are maybe the governor of a state, for example, who is not up to 50, he is also a member of the party, is the leader of that particular party in the state. Have you considered him to be an elder in that particular sense? So this eldership is definable. But if it is as a result of age that they have considered themselves into elders, it's a different ball game altogether. Because in this election that is coming, I'm told that it is going to be one man, one vote. It's going to be an election that all the members of the parties are going to vote. So endorsement or not endorsement will not be the issue. I did not begrudge them.
You said endorsement or not endorsement, but the APC in the state right now, to some extent, appears largely divided. I mean, we have different factions and groups, touting different candidates, to gun for the top job. So I'm just trying to put this vis-a-vis what you said, one man, one vote, and the party seemingly looking unified.
You see, in a large house, diverse opinions and issues will arise. Now, APC is the leading party in the state, and it has been in the saddle for almost 8 years now, and everybody gravitates towards that particular party. So when the party said, on your mark, go, it will mean so many candidates will come out, and that accounts for why you will see almost about 15 or thereabout persons who have come out in APC to say they want to contest. But you see, among the animals in the forest, we will have so many of them justly, but there's only one that is the king. It's only one that will be made the governor of the state. We are not begrudging any person. We are not begrudging individuals, particularly this group that has called itself Aborigine, from supporting. But the question is this: to arrogate to themselves the ownership and leadership of the party is going too far. The point is, they can, of a truth, support whoever they want. We know some of these persons.
So are you saying this group, to a very large extent, from your knowledge, are not bona fide or legally recognized by the APC structure?
No, they are not. They are not. The point is this: I have been a member of that particular party, and I know virtually everyone in PDP, except you just joined today. In APC, except you have just joined around 4 o'clock this evening, that you will say, I don't know them. We know ourselves. Some of these individuals has long been coming along with the present governor since he became the governor. So you cannot just overnight now turn around and say, oh, you that have been coming along with me, you now come around and say, yes, you are now bringing me up because you are neutral. That's not true. They are not just being sincere to that particular level. But as individuals, they can go ahead and choose whoever they want to choose. On what ground have they come to say they are supporting the present governor? Is it because of education? The governor has the minimum education, is qualified, but will you place his education vis-a-vis that of Dr. Jimo Ibrahim, who has a PhD? Will you place that one vis-a-vis Chief Olushola Oke SAN, who has an LLM? So, if that is the reason, that cannot be bona fide. Now, The question also will be, are you placing his experience vis-a-vis these persons who have been in the party? Chief Olujala has contested almost about 3 times for the governorship of the state. The last time he was in contest with Akeredolu, he was prevailed upon to step down. And that's a man who has been a grassroots person from the days of yore. So on what basis are you saying you are endorsing one? I should have thought that this person should have gone ahead to work for their persons and not necessarily coming to the public to arrogate the leadership of the party so that the whole world will know we are the one who have endorsed him. That's not true. Who will endorse them? The public will endorse them. For example, you will see the persons going from one ward to another, from one local government to another.
I'm sorry, I might just need to, of course, interrupt you because we have our second guest who actually just joined in to be part of this particular conversation. He is the Executive Project Director, Human Rights Action Group, and also the Director General, Omoluabi Coalition Group, in person of Comrade Tunji Balogun. Thank you for joining in, Comrade Balogun. Comrade, can you hear me? Thank you for joining. Okay, I understand that we are having connection issues with Comrade. Once we are able to do that, we will, of course, hit the ground running with conversations around him. Now, let's talk about the person of the current governor. I mean, far back when the former governor, talking about the late Rotimi Akeredolu, was sick, there was a lot of drama as regards the handover. And then eventually, when he passed on, and the current governor, deputy governor then became the governor, there's still, a bit of drama. People questioning his personality, his credibility, his ability to handle the state, if at all he's even qualified. And I'm talking about, internal party politics right now. There seems not to be cohesion in terms of voice to say, okay, what we see usually in periods like this, maybe for solidarity's sake, they say, okay, as the incumbent, let's pick you with one voice. It seems the crisis is further, deepened within the party. Why do you think this is? And do you think the current governor, was former deputy, has so many enemies, particularly within the party, to contend with?
Well, I won't know who are the enemies to him, but like I mentioned to you, before Mr. Akeredolu passed on, there have been people in the party.
People like who?
Like Chief Olujala, who had indicated their interest that they were going to contest for this position.
And the late governor was aware?
Of course, yes. In fact, the incumbent governor was then deputy governor. I'm aware that Chief Olujala went to him to say, I am contesting for the position of the governor.
So it was more like a gentleman agreement?
Because he was deputy governor, it was needful for him to be informed, and he was so informed. So it is to tell you that these persons had been on this project long time before Akeredolu passed on. Now that Akeredolu has passed on, you have shown interest. Nobody says you cannot contest. Nobody says you don't have a right. But you cannot block the space for those who have been working all this while.
What do you mean by blocking the space?
In other words, to gag them. To say
How is he gagging them?
To say that because you have shown interest, every other person should shut up. To say
is that what he's doing?
No, just a moment.
Okay.
There is a way these things are done. The governor is interested, and because he is interested, there should not be any other person who should come forth any longer because here is the governor that has come on board. Those kind of explanations are not tenable because persons have been in this project before you had the opportunity of becoming the governor.
But some are of the opinion that the governor is enjoying popular support, particularly with the people.
Well, if you are governor, you expect that some persons should come to pay you a visit. For example, in this place, you see the lightning in this place. If we allow incest to come into this place, because there is lightning here, they want to come around the light. That is normal. But when you come to the grassroots, as it were, in Ondo State, I speak as an indigene of Ondo State. And for your information, I have traversed virtually all the political parties that are in Ondo State. I'm practicing my profession here now in Lagos. I know so much of that particular place. I was essay to Adegboye when he was there. I was commissioner on the board of NDDC when Mimiko was there. I was SSA to late Akeredolu on oil and gas. So there's virtually anything you talk about that state that I am not well informed. Now, the point is this. Persons who have come out to show their interest, my take is this. Let's have a free, fair, and credible election, and not arrogate any position to any man to say because this is this, therefore all other persons should step aside. Let's go for the election.
I mean, you seem to infer that the governor is very much, I mean, is vested obviously, but seemingly putting quite a lot of pressure on certain persons.
I have not used that word.
Okay.
What I have said is this, that credible, reliable election, that is going to be conducted by the national body, though. It's not going to be conducted at the state level. In terms of press coverage, you will know if you are not in government, there's a level to which you could have the press coverage, because the government has the machinery of using the facilities in the state for the purpose of coverage. Nobody challenges that. But the point also is this, that in this space, every aeroplane has a right to fly. Every aeroplane has a right. And these persons also have their right to contest for this election. So the endorsement by the Aborigines, right, is of no moment at all, because the quality of persons who have come out, Jimo Ibrahim has come out, Chief Olushola is there, Mr. Akinteriwa is out, Honorable Akin Folani. These are persons who have also shown their interest, and they have their pedigree.
So are you suggesting that, I mean, given the pedigree of others, and will I call it political hierarchy now? You said in one of your statements that there have been quite a number of them. You mentioned Barrister Chief Olushola.
That's correct.
As being one of them, who has been, you know, in the game, of course, in the sphere of things for quite some time. Are you suggesting that there should be some sort of, will I say, secession by the governor to say, you know what, in respect, you know, of your struggle and your contribution to the party, I choose to step down?
In 2012, 3 persons came to vie for the position of the governor of Ondo State. Governor Olusegun Mimiko, late Governor Akeredolu, and Chief Olushola. Mimiko was to have a second term, and then the people of the state said, let's allow you to do it. So he won. In fact, I was the returning agent for Mimiko in that election. In 2016, Akeredolu contested. Akeredolu won. And for your information too, I was the returning agent, the state returning agent for Akeredolu. These are records. It's not being formulated here. Akeredolu won. And Akeredolu from the north, Mimiko from the central. Mimiko spent his 8 years. And then Akeredolu, but for that, would have completed his 8 years in office. Now, who is left among this trio that contested? Chief Olushola.
So are you saying based on hierarchy?
Of course, yes.
Based by political...
Just a moment.
Okay.
For hierarchy, for quality, for the stability of the party, for the person who is grassrooted, for the person who knows the ins and the workings of the political structures in the state, it towers high, and that is the truth. I am not a member of his party, but I speak as what I know. Here is a man who stands tall. Among all of them, he's the only one that is not having any political office now.
So this grudge to me seems like an underdog who seems to be gaining momentum, and maybe.
Who's the underdog?
I mean, the scenario looks more like, okay, there is an established, some sort of established hierarchy on ground, and then from nowhere or from somewhere, someone by maybe luck or life, just seems to come from the back. Let me put the back of the pack, and now it seems to be the decision maker, and it's not sitting well with quite a number of
people. And you know what? And this is fundamental. I do not begrudge Governor Aiyedatiwa. I don't.
Okay.
I wish him well. However, if Governor Aiyedatiwa assumes the leadership, takes the ticket of the party, because this is the slot for Ondo South. If you look at the person that are contesting, there is nobody from Ondo North, there's nobody from Ondo Central. He has only 4 years to spend. He can't spend more than that because that is the law. The law says when a governor dies and the deputy takes over, the deputy spends the remainder of the tenure of the governor. He can only contest for 1 more time, and that will be 4 years. He is going to spend maybe 1 year for completing the tenure of Akeredolu, and then he has only 4 years to spend. You are changing the Ondo South. We are entitled to having our 8 years. And you know what a person can do for the period of 4 years? It's humongous. So we cannot close our eyes to it. We cannot whittle it down. And that's why some of us are a little bit worried that some persons call themselves Aborigines and they can come individually. But don't assume the leadership of the party in the state in any event. You don't have that right.
So in the event that at the end of the primaries, the incumbent governor is chosen as the flag bearer, what do you think would happen?
The world will not come to an end, but it behoves us to enlighten the public as to the benefits we will have if the alternative is taken. That is what we are doing. If it's chosen, the world will not come to an end. He will spend his 4 years, and that will be all. But you see, you can no longer be crying over spilt milk by the time it has occurred. But for now, we must educate the people. We have a period of 8 years to spend, and we must not whittle it down. We must not whittle it down. For whatever reason, we must not whittle it down.
Okay, now let's, you've been in, of course, the politics of the state for a very long time.
That's correct.
And you are very privy to the aspirations, the yearnings, the political workings of the state. What do you think that the people of Ondo State need right now?
We need a leader that can galvanize the resources of the state together for the purpose of projecting the state forward. I am aware that Ondo State prides itself, one, as a state of people who read, but our strength lies in agriculture. That's our strength. I am from the Rivers Rhine area. I'm an Ilaje person. In the days of yore, at tender ages, our group, 11, 12 years, we will go to the rivers to go and catch fish and sell and make money. Those things are no longer there. Now, ditto for what Awolowo did 1953, 54 to thereabout when he was in the saddle in the western region. The settlement Awolowo established that time, not an inch of improvement has been added to it. We'll look for somebody who can say, we will develop agriculture.
And the previous administrations, didn't do anything.
No, there are people who have eyes and they don't see too well. There are people who don't even use glasses, but they see very well. So we are looking for individuals who will say, let's go back to agriculture. No, that we cannot be doing the same agriculture as it was done in the days of yore. The young ones will not go into it. There must be improvement. And from what I have heard, there are aspirants who have said, I will do roads into this forest for where you can go and do your work. 2, I will build places like, call it accommodation, call it a kind of small hotel that can accommodate you while you are there. And because of the challenge of insecurity, I've also heard that the individual says, come on, I will ensure that Amotekun has a barrack in this area. So when you are working, you can sleep in your farm for 1 week or 2 weeks, as it were. The solar light will be providing electricity for you. Amotekun is there as security. Try this for 1 or 2 years, and whether you see that the full challenges we have in the country in Ondo State will not come down. So we are looking for such leaders who can harness this, who can bring this on board for us. We are looking at leaders who will say, you can't go to university because of your inability to be able to cope. But for goodness sake, go to technical school where you will learn and you'll be well equipped.
All right.
So we're looking for such a leader. And I sell to you. I'm not using this program to sell anyone. I've told you there's a man whom I know who will do a good job.
Well, I mean, because we pressed, for time. The current governor has just been there for quite, some time, roughly a few months.
That's correct.
Do you think he has exhibited capacity to actually handle the state and take it in the right direction or to the next level?
Well, I won't be able to judge him.
From your assessment.
No, from our assessment.
You've been in government for way too long.
That's correct. I won't be able to judge him. You know why? Because this is election period. For whatever you say now will be taken as if to say, if you praise him, some persons will say, oh yes. If you say the other way around, some persons. But for the purpose of this assessment, his performance or not performance will be determined by the members of his party on the 20th. If he has done well, the members of his party will come to say, oh, kudos, go on. If the members of the party come to say, you didn't do too well, that's the assessment. So whatever assessment I give here, I don't want to become like the Aborigines, who will just sit somewhere and then say they endorse. For now, 4 months is not sufficient enough to assess a person, not at all. What would they have done within a period of 4 months? Little or nothing.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and being on the program, Dr. Benson. Thank you once again.
It's a pleasure being here.
All right, we'll go on a quick break. When we return this time around, we will be going to Senegal, where, of course, it's a new government there, and a lot is happening. Stay with us.